Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next video. Today we are going to be taking a closer look at the Paladin from Dungeons & Dragons 3.5. And today we are going to be doing spell advice for them. So yeah, let's jump into that. So, spell advice for a Paladin. Well, first off, and probably the most important advice I can give you as a Paladin who's considering what to do as a spellcaster, you're not a primary caster. You primarily are a melee combatant. You are much more a fighter than you are a cleric. Now, a paladin is a little bit of a mix of the two, but they're much more on the fighter side. So you're not going to want to focus too heavy on those spells because, yes, you have them, and yes, they can be quite good, but that's not... You are very limited in how many you can use. In fact, at early levels, you can't even cast spells. So yeah, you're going to want to focus on hitting stuff with your sword or lance if you're mounted. Lance would probably be pretty common for a lot of paladins in all honesty. So yeah, you're going to want to focus pretty heavy on that. So yeah, now that said, there are some spells and feats and things that you might want to go for. One that is just good, it's called Battle Blessing. Sorry, I had to look it up real quick. But yeah, Battle Blessing is it's a good feat for a paladin. It will allow you to cast all your spells as a swift action. So basically, all your spells are quickened. So quite nice. Very, very good option for a paladin. That way you can still focus on, your full round action for getting that attack in. Yeah, definitely useful. Now, some really good... There are a number of good feats, or not feats, spells. You might pick up some cure spells, maybe. They're not as potent as a cleric's would be. Well, they are and they aren't. Like, for their spell level, yes, but the thing about paladin spells, because you're only a half caster, like your caster level is only equal to half your paladin level, that is going to weaken them. But at the same time, like a 4th level spell for you is typically a 4th level paladin spell is going to be stronger than a 4th level cleric spell for a big portion of the time. At least a lot of them are. So, the fact that, yeah, you can get, the cure spells on the same scale as a cleric spell at the same level. Okay, that's not bad, but I wouldn't pick up more than like a couple of them. Just, for emergency, battle healing if you really, really need it. But I wouldn't pick up too many. If I was going to do that, I'd probably do it on one of the higher levels, but it's kind of up to you. Now, some of the spells that they can also take, Greater Magic Weapons, pretty good one. It can definitely save you some money if you're only if you only want to, make your weapon a +1. You can throw this on and make it effectively a +5 for just one spell. So that's not bad. Number of other things you can do to buff it, although a lot of them really depend on campaign. Like a lot of their spells are very much campaign based. One that I did find, if you are going to cast, definitely look at the spell compendium, because that's going to expand your options quite a bit. It's going to roughly triple your options just compared to the DMG. Now, one that I saw, a nice 3rd level paladin spell, is Diamond Steel, which is really nice. It's also for sorcerers and wizards, but it's particularly good on paladins, because paladins actually wear metal armor quite typically, more so than any other caster. Yeah. I mean, a sorcerer wizard could cast it on someone else's armor, sure, but these guys could self-buff, cast it on their own armor, and basically for a number of rounds per level, which is decent, especially if combat's coming. You cast it on your armor, and now you can get DR for this fight equal to half your armor bonus from your armor, which could be potentially really high. Like if you're wearing a nice +5 full plate, that's a 13. So that would round down to 6. So you just gain DR 6 adamantine, which isn't bad. That's pretty solid. And it'll definitely help reduce the amount of damage you take from that fight. Not not a bad call. If I don't think at all. Um, there's some other ones that I noticed that were interesting, like stabilize. Now that's a very situational one, but it could be useful if you're in a campaign that has a lot of like if you're on a big battlefield and your goal is to try and minimize casualties in this battle. Stabilize is a great spell for that because you can cast it and it has this nice big I think 50-foot area, and literally everyone in that gets 1 point of positive energy damage, which is healing. So they'll all heal 1 point of damage. Any undead can make a will save or take 1 point of damage, which, I mean, that's cool that it works for undead, that it hits the undead too. But the fact that all living creatures just gain 1 point of hit point, which will stabilize anyone who's like dying, that can really be helpful at minimizing casualties on the battlefield. It's not going to be great in a lot of other situations. 1 hit point isn't a lot. In very situational circumstances, I guess it could be okay. But more often than not, you're going to have better spells for that. But it's something, and it's good in the right circumstances. They have a number of things that can help you get get the party moving faster. They have a lot of really great mounted stuff. What was it? Rhinos Rush is a really good one. If you are charging a lot, since it will let you do double damage for that turn. Nice swift action. Casting, pretty good one. Things like no greatest enemy aren't bad. If it's not obvious, it wouldn't be a bad one to just pick up and have, especially as a first level spell. You can just cast it, and then it'll kind of give you the relative strength of everyone in a pretty wide area. You get a nice big cone, so you can pass along that info to the rest of the team, so everyone can know, okay, how strong is everyone. You don't get to know why. Like, it specifically says, like, if there's like a band of orcs, and you cast it, like, and one of them has 2 levels of barbarian, it'll tell you that one is stronger than the others. It won't tell you that the reason is because he has 2 levels of barbarian, but you'll know he's stronger. Maybe he has the fiendish template. That would also give him the same amount of difficulty increase. Things like that. But you really, but it can be useful to know where the strong enemies are, to help you know where to focus your attacks. That can be very useful for strategizing. They have a lot of interesting kind of versatile spells. None of them they don't have a whole lot that's super amazing, because they're not a primary caster or anything, but they're decent. And that's really where you want to focus. Try and focus on things that will increase your martial abilities, because that's where your real strength lies, is in your martial prowess. So you want to up that. They have some things that help with your mounts, which aren't terrible. Stuff with your mount can always be good too, since you do have that nice special mount, assuming you didn't trade it for something else with an alternate class feature or something, which, I mean, you could have even gotten rid of spellcasting with an alternate class feature, but this video is assuming you didn't, because wouldn't be a whole lot of advice for spellcasters who are spellcasters. They have some other ones that are really good for, like, just moving the party from place to place out of combat. They're pretty good with they have a lot of interesting versatility to them, which is kind of nice. But yeah, the actual advice really depends on your campaign. It really depends on the kind of character you're building, because there are a number of different types of builds for paladins. So what I gave is basic general advice that can apply to a lot of paladins. Some spells I mentioned were situational. They just kind of really stood out to me when, I was looking through them, like Stabilize. It's not particularly great, but it is interesting. It is one of the best ways to, stabilize a large number of characters at once. So if that's something you need to do for whatever very situational reason, that's the spell to go to for that. Clerics also get that one, by the way. And they're probably better off having the cleric do it, in all honesty. But you can do it as well as a paladin. Just figured I'd throw that one out there. But anyways, that's mostly all I have for spell advice for Paladin. If you guys have any more spell advice for him, let me know down in the comments below. Always love hearing from you guys. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. That definitely helps out. Maybe subscribe to the channel for more awesome Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 videos. Ring that notification bell so you never miss out on a video. And anyways, as always, I'm Mitch, and I'll be seeing ya.